Tonight at 10, storm slammed Wisconsin as tornado warnings were issued for multiple counties in our area. We've got you covered on what rolled through.
An active night to say the least, and with those storms finally pushing out of our area, we can look ahead to quieter, drier conditions, at least for a brief period. I'll let you know when we can see more rain in the forecast.
And fallout from the pro-Palestine protests at UW-Madison. We've got you covered on what happened inside a meeting between Jewish students and the chancellor, plus the action city council members are considering to support protesters.
We've got you covered. This is 27 News at 10.
We begin tonight with a look at the powerful storms that tore through our area. And this is video sent to us from Jamie in Partyville, where you can see the dark clouds dropping in the distance.
And in Evansville, Crystal caught this video of large hail pelting the ground and her car outside the Piggly Wiggly as the storm passed over. And as we look out live over Madison right now, those storms have moved off. It's calmer right now, but it's still partly cloudy out there.
27 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Cameron Hopman was on the air for almost an hour with those warnings. And Cam, quite a busy night, my friend.
Yeah, a busy day. This was round 3 of severe weather throughout the day today. We had those storms roll through early this morning, followed by that early afternoon cluster of thunderstorm activity that brought tornado warnings for Rock and Walworth counties. Then we had multiple severe thunderstorm warnings for Dane, Columbia, Rock, Walworth, Jefferson, Dodge, Marquette counties. Not to mention those tornado warnings for portions of Dane, Jefferson, and Walworth. I should say Jefferson and Walworth were the primary tornadic warnings earlier on this evening. Now, thankfully, things have calmed down. You can see all those showers and storms passing further off to the east at this hour. And while there are still some pretty active thunderstorms ranging from Princeton out the Fond du Lac out towards the lake, right now the majority of us dealing with, well, essentially quiet conditions at this time. Radar interference from Madison right now. After reaching temperatures of 67 degrees, the storms come through and cool things off. It's 56 degrees as of right now, and as we continue to head into the overnight hours, we will see drier conditions, clearer conditions filter back into the area, but it's not expected to last forever. I'll let you know how long we'll have to wait before we see chances of rainfall return to the forecast and whether or not there's any additional chances of potentially severe storms down the road. That is all coming up.
All right, well, stand by, Cam, because we did receive a lot of great viewer video and pictures tonight of that huge storm front that was moving through earlier.
Yeah, so check this out. A viewer sent us this video from Sun Prairie. This is from Jamie. Looks like clouds rotating. I kind of saw some of this in Middleton as well.
Yeah, and it makes sense. We had that long line of bowing structures of storms, and ahead of that, or right under the leading edge of that, you can kind of get a lot of turbulence. And this is actually why the National Weather Service issued so many of those tornado warnings this evening. It's because anywhere along one of those lines, especially when you get that kind of kinking or bowing in the storm that we talked about so much earlier this evening, you can get this rotation, and that is where we can have a very brief touchdown from a quick rope tornado.
All right, Cam, our marketing director, Jill Genter, sent us these photos from Truax Field. And Cam, what are these clouds right here? Okay,
so this looks ominous, right? This looks like something, that looks like 1, 2, 3, 5 tornadoes. Now, what this is that's kind of the same thing. I talked about that turbulence. You get that instability on the leading edge of a storm system. That is what's called scud. Those are scud clouds. They look ominous. Essentially what it is moisture and that turbulence kind of mixes together on the leading edge of those storms and kind of creates these cloud structures. They look ominous. They're harmless. They're usually associated with strong leading edge winds, and that's essentially what we saw a lot of those storms generate earlier this evening.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so after the storm came the rainbows. We got a lot of beautiful pictures. This one was really unique, sent to us from Charlena in Twin Grove, a double rainbow with lightning cutting across it.
Yeah, that's a sight. You know, I didn't get a chance to see much of the rainbow.
I saw the double rainbows on the way back from dinner. Nice. Yes, beautiful.
Yeah, no, it was certainly, we had the right conditions for it, especially once those storms moved out. Clearer, drier conditions filtered in on the back edge. That is quite the view.
Yeah, thank you to all of our viewers. Now make sure you are prepared the next time a storm rolls through. Download the 27 Storm Track weather app so you can track the storms right along with our team of meteorologists. We put in your location, and you'll get an hour-by-hour forecast for your neighborhood.
Well, the rain didn't dampen the spirits of pro-Palestine protesters on Library Mall in Madison. They kept their demonstration going, which they've been doing since last Monday.
We have team coverage on protest-related developments tonight. Grace Olch and Grace Hodak are standing by. Now, first to Grace Olch. She's got you covered on the response by a Jewish student leader at UW. Grace.
Amber, Brandon, just days after members of the encampment met with UW officials, so did Jewish student leaders. And I met with one of those students today who was in that meeting with Chancellor Mnuchin. Ben Newman says he and other Jewish students believe that protest is an important value of UW-Madison and democracy. But Newman says where he and others are concerned is the legality of the current encampment on Library Mall. Newman and other Jewish student leaders walked into their meeting with Chancellor Mnuchin with 12 requests, like university-wide condemnation of anti-Semitism and Jewish and Israeli representation in negotiations. Newman says he urged Chancellor Mnuchin to use the university's Wisconsin idea to inform her next steps.
Called on the chancellor to stand up and create the community that she wants to create. Does she want a community that seeks redress for grievances by breaking the law and holding the university to an unreasonable set of demands? Or does she want a community of discussion, dialogue, and democracy?
Newman says he and the other students that met with the chancellor hope to move forward and collaborate rather than clash with one another to come to a resolution. But when the university comes to a resolution is still not clear yet. Back to you.
All right, Grace, thank you. We now send things over to Grace Hodak, who is also live at the City County building. And Grace, Madison Common Council members are going to vote on a resolution which supports student protesters and reaffirms the council's call for an immediate ceasefire.
Yeah, Amber, Brandon, at this very moment, that meeting is still happening, so we don't have a decision on whether or not that resolution has been passed. So far, we've heard from several speakers, both who are for and against this resolution. But before we get to what they have to say, it's important to go over what was in front of council members tonight, and it's important to note that this was not the first draft of that resolution. So the resolution included a couple of things. First, they're encouraging University of Wisconsin-Madison Chancellor Jennifer Mnuchin and protesters to continue negotiations. The council is also defending the rights of any student and community member to, quote, assemble as part of a peaceful demonstration, end quote, and reaffirming their call for an immediate ceasefire. Lastly, the Madison Common Council is strongly condemning all acts of anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. Like mentioned, we heard from both people in opposition and in support of tonight's resolution. Those who wanted to pass say that the pro-Palestine encampments on UW's campus Library Mall has been nothing but peaceful and supportive, and they're urging the Common Council to take part in that support and pass this resolution. On the other hand, those that are against the resolution call it one-sided, and they're asking the council to acknowledge the impact that the war has had on the Israeli community. They urge people to invest themselves in heavy and difficult conversations. Again, there has been no decision made yet on this resolution, so we'll continue to have you covered as a decision is made. But for now, reporting live in Madison, Grace Hodak, 27 News.
All right, team coverage, Grace Hodak and Grace Olch, thank you. The Madison Police Department is asking for help identifying suspects after a car was flipped over at the Mifflin Street block party. More than 150 officers were assigned to the event that draws thousands of people to Mifflin Street each year. Officers were forced to clear the backyards along the 500 block of Mifflin after people flipped over a vehicle. Now, police released photos of these 31 suspects. They say they will give consideration to those who come forward and take responsibility for their actions. No one's been arrested so far. If you recognize any of these individuals on your screen, contact the Madison Police Department. You can find more information in our web story on our website, WKOW.com.
Adult film actress Stormy Daniels took the stand today in the historic criminal trial of former President Donald Trump. She delivered hours of testimony to the jury, describing in detail her alleged sexual encounter with Trump and the hush money that prosecutors say she was paid in exchange for her silence. As Daniels got into intimate details, Trump was seen repeatedly tapping his defense attorney's arm, signaling for her to object, which she did multiple times.
It's all building up into, again, forming this idea, look, she was there, this did happen, and thus eventually we'll talk about the money.
During cross-examination, the defense tried to play up Daniels' animosity for Trump. The judge had to step in multiple times.
Fraud cases are soaring in Chippewa Falls, so authorities are sharing ways to keep you safe from falling victim through education. Investigator Joan Lisevich handles financial-related crimes for the Chippewa Falls Police Department. She shared her expertise with a dozen attendees at the YMCA so those in the community can better protect themselves.
I think it's our responsibility financially to be tuned into what's out there and the scams that are focused on people like myself.
Some signs to look out for are phone calls claiming to be government agencies like the IRS requesting money immediately or asking for payment in gift cards or digital currency like Bitcoin. Coming up, Milwaukee is celebrating the opening of a new museum. We've got you covered on the details of the new building that will be showcasing history.
And we've got you covered on more severe weather that's impacted millions of people in the Midwest.
And we saw our own threat of severe weather over the last 24 hours. I'll let you know moving forward whether or not there's additional chances for showers and storms and how long these drier, quieter conditions are expected to last. That's all coming up.